XX Gretzky's the best. XX core. XX Blades.
You miss
of Ice.
100% of the shots you don't take. Wayne Gretzky. Michael Scott. All
Matt Zuccarello.
All right, this time for real. Welcome to the MetaVillains podcast.
Okay, yeah.
Now that a hockey game's not getting in the way.
Oh, I mean, it definitely is. It's still on.
It's whatever. I'm not really paying attention to it.
So when you notice that I'm the only one that makes eye contact during this podcast, it's because I don't hawk.
No.
Or E. Thought we were going the same
You
place.
miss 100% of the hawks, you don't E.
So yeah, kind of like what we were saying before all the other stuff. Reason why there wasn't a podcast last week is number one, a lot of people were unavailable. James was out of town. Jared just had a baby, so he's got that going on for him.
Mm-hmm. Unless he had the baby out of town, no excuse.
Yeah. And then Patrick, I think Patrick got a new job. I'm not really sure. Eugene shows up when he can. So it was just me and Dan, and we were like, oh, we'll just 2-man a podcast. And then LOL, we just both
And then
played
the third
Breath of
man
the
showed
Wild.
up was called the Nintendo Switch.
Yep.
I mean, that was the first time I got to play with it, and it was pretty fucking cool. So this whole podcast is pretty much going to be dedicated to Breath of the Wild. So if you don't care about that, you probably
For
should
those of
not
you
listen.
at home, The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, or LZBT dubs.
Yeah, BT dubs.
We got to turn this fucking TV off because I keep looking at this hockey game and I don't even like hockey. But it's like watching ants fight.
So we're doing that.
Yeah.
And okay, we're good.
All right.
Spoilers.
This
are
is
going to be-
Fireside Chat with
We'll
the
try not to spoil too much for you
Oh,
because you haven't gotten as far as like me or Dan
How the fuck do you know where I'm at?
because you've had it the least amount of time. And I know you're James Greaser Pro Gamer, but with the girth of this
The quintessential gamer.
no, that's Lauren Sontag, sir. You don't get that.
I'm
title.
Lauren Sontag Jr.
As much as you are the pro gamer.
I just got the camera.
There is a girth. There's a big girth of stuff in this game to the point
Now
where,
you're speaking my language.
yeah, girth, cheese wheels. So
That's actually, when looking for a cheese wheel at home, folks, what you actually do want is girth. Some people fuck up and they go for the shiny cheese, the cheese that has good packaging, but girth is what you're really wanting to go for. Carry on, Chris.
yeah,
So actually, I've got to interject. James just said,
Gouda, if that's what you're
yeah,
going to ask.
Gouda. James just said, I just got the camera, as if that is a definite marker of progress. The beautiful thing that I love about this
Not at
video
all.
game is that you can do anything in any order that you want.
It's really the reading rainbow of Zelda games.
Yeah. It's,
You could do anything you set your mind to.
and another case in point, my fiance has discovered all of the towers, climbed all of the towers, has the complete map
Her
unlocked,
fucking name Ezio? What the?
pretty much. Has not tackled one of the 4 main
Things.
does not have the Master Sword yet, does not have anything. She's got the entire map.
I mean that's a good start though.
Yeah.
Now you just narrow it down.
I have got
Props to her.
4
See,
sections.
and only a woman. This is not going to be a sexist thing, but I feel like only a woman would have the mental ability to not be distracted to be able to do all the fucking towers. Because there's times where I'm sitting there and I look across a riverbank and I see a group and I see a fucking chest. But then I look across that side of the riverbank and I see that's a bass I've never seen before. Across that part of the riverbank, I say that looks like a dragon, could just be a tree. I don't fucking know. That's the Zelda experience. And every single time, it's just because all I was trying to do was chase this fucking horse that I saw 30 minutes ago. And that horse is gone. And props to her for just having the mental fortitude
Of having a
focus
singular
on tasks.
focus.
Yes.
Whereas the rest of us are having this fucking ADD like,
I guess
all right,
what I'm
I
saying
need
she'll be a great wife and mother one day.
yeah.
all right, I just got this armor set. Now I need to go get these lizards to upgrade the armor set. And
This
as I'm
lizard
finding
keeps
that-
running. Maybe if I sneak,
All right, now
can
I just
grab
found a
this one.
skull that has a shrine in it. All right, no, I need another shrine to finish this other shrine. All right, now.
Well, I mean, I'm at 3, so if I get a 4th one, I'll go ahead and, pick up my stamina a little bit. But, there's 4 chests. Oh, there's another shrine. Oh, God.
We're doing we were coming back from Publix just now, and she goes, I'm kind of disappointed because now I feel like I've done all the things, and I'm like, you haven't done anything. You haven't done anything. You found the towers. Good job. you haven't done the beast, you don't have these weapons, you haven't had this experience, you haven't done this thing at the top of Mount Lanayru that I'm not going to spoil. And like, you haven't even started.
You haven't even tamed a horse.
There's so many things. I'm like, Bree, you've been playing the game for 30 hours. Rough estimate, because the game doesn't tell you, which is a good thing.
I don't need to know how much time I put in.
The only stat that I honestly want in this game is how many fucking weapons I've broken. That's the only stat I want.
It's a lot. But once you start finding some better stuff, they usually last a little bit longer. And then you start taking care of certain items because they're breakable and you don't want to break them because...
Or like certain things break they break more easily if you don't use them as they're intended.
Yeah.
Right.
Like if you accidentally use a sword on a tree, it breaks the sword really quickly versus using like the woodcutter's axe. And it'll last. Or I just realized
that axe lasted forever.
I finally read the description on the hammer, and it says, "Oh, it was used for mining, but it could be used for combat, I guess, or whatever." And I was like, "How about instead of blowing up these ore deposits on the side of a mountain and having to play fucking Hakeem Olajuwon and jump and try to grab these fuckers before they fly off the cliff?" Because I would see so many like, "What's that? That's orange. Bye, Opal. I'll never see you again," as I just see it go sailing over the side of the mountain that I blew 14 fucking stamina bars just to climb up there too. So then finally when I realized that you can use the hammer on it, you just hit it with the hammer and everything drops nice and neat, like where you swung. And I'm like...
The game rewards you for brain power.
And for playing it right?
Yeah.
Congratulations. Now you can finally play the game.
It doesn't tell you shit, but it rewards you.
When you figure it out.
If you do it right.
But I think honestly, like that right there, I think... when the conversation inevitably is happening, everybody obviously is going to want to stack this up to Ocarina of Time, because regardless of which Zelda you think is the best or not, I think most people's benchmark, at least in our world, usually is how does it compare to Ocarina of Time. But I think like years going forward, I don't think people are going to be talking about the story of this Zelda. I think it's what they're going to talk about.
I don't know, man.
Is all mechanics, in my opinion.
I only
how is the story really
I
gonna
only
be any
say
greater?
that because it rewards you for going to find the story. It's kind of like
the memories.
It's kind of like Dark Souls, where it doesn't tell you anything except in the item descriptions and talking to everybody and finding those memories. But once I found probably 7 of the 12 so far.
We have them all.
And it paints a very good story, like one that actually has a little bit of emotional depth, which is surprising.
Okay, so
number one
I'll
for a
revise my
game.
previous statement then. If you take the time to collect all the things to explain the story, then maybe the story will be memorable. But I feel like...
unfortunately, the story isn't just handed to you.
I wouldn't even say unfortunately, because that's a good thing, because that's everything Nintendo and Zelda has done up until this point is... if they could hold your hand anymore, they'd be wiping your ass for you. So I think it's a good thing. And this is kind of, now we're jumping ahead in kind of ideas, but one of the things that I like most about this one is that it doesn't hold your hand. It goes the complete opposite direction. But that kind of goes back to what I'm talking about like the mechanics.
Right.
How many times have you guys been talking to each other about like, oh, I did this fucking thing. Who would have known if you burn a shitload of grass, it'll create an updraft that you can use with your paraglider to take you up into the air. Or all these things that, well, it's just simple thermodynamics, son.
Watching him fight like one of the... You'll come across like shrines where you have to like do battle with like mini guardians, and there's
the test of strength.
Yeah,
I completed the moderate one, and then I got to the difficult one. I probably shouldn't have been able to do
test of strength.
because you've literally paraglide.
Very challenging.
You paraglide from the moderate to the major, and then I walked in and I had blown like 7 or 8 weapons on just the moderate one, had killed him, and I'm like, all right, I'm feeling pretty fucking good with myself.
Feel fucking jacked.
I'm like 3/4 hard right now.
I've got like 3 hearts. Let's do this.
Let's fuck shit up. I actually have 4 hearts and 3 extra stamina bars because I can go all night long. But when I accidentally stumbled into the major test of strength, I major nope the fuck straight out of there.
Yeah. I know exactly where you found those too, because there's one that's like on the top of a plateau out into the ocean.
Because they're right next to
fly down to the other
Hateno Village or whatever. Because I finally went there because, like I said, I finally got the camera.
Because there's no hate in this game.
Why do I feel like fucking one of the black women from Living Single should have said that?
So anyway,
ain't no man like I hate no man.
So
can't get herpes in your asshole.
It's a booty hole.
I feel like the shorter conversation that we can get out of the way first is what don't you like about this game?
I've got a list.
I'll start because mine are very simple. I think the biggest things. So full disclosure, I'm playing it on the Wii U. I think you're playing it on the Wii U, Chris.
Yep.
And you're on the Switch.
I'm on the Switch.
Dan put
Switch.
himself into debt and got a Switch.
So my biggest problem, although from what I've heard,
All right. Who gifted that to you?
My mom, she goes, "Happy birthday 2.5 months early."
That fucking
did she say happy birthday? I'll never forgive you for overriding my save.
Pretty
So
much.
wait, she's gonna show up at your house like, is this a Switch? Is this
This
really
is the same woman
oops?
who literally Bart Simpsoned me for her link overriding her link to the past save.
I mean, that was justified.
Is that what it says in the police report? Bart Simpson. But anyway, so the problems that I have are very, very few, very small in the large scheme of things. So the first thing that I had a problem with that I kind of just gave my body to and finally said yes and realized that it was supposed to be this way was weapons breaking, because I have a really hard time, really, if any game that has durability, it makes me very like OCD about. I'm very precious with the weapons that I like, and you can't be like that with this game because everything is going to break no matter how cool it is. But I got over that problem. But my major problems with it, that quite frankly I'm really fucking surprised with at this point, is the frame rate dropping is a big concern to me, but I can justify it just by the fact that there's no fucking loading screen when you're running. Like running in the world, there's no loading screen that I found from like zone to zone, and the draw distance is so fucking far that like I get it. Okay, that's fine. But the problem that I have is on the Wii U, I feel like this game actually looks like shit. Like it's beautiful colors. I like how things are designed and the character models, but holy shit, on the Wii U, I don't know if it's different on the Switch, but on the Wii U, I feel like maybe I'm sitting too close to my TV. Every fucking texture is just jagged. And like there's so much tearing. I can see like on the edge of all the designs
That might
and
be your TV
weapons. And
because
it's just jagged as fuck.
it's playing it on the Switch. It's exactly the same. It looks exactly the same between the two.
There's a couple of lighting things I would say look better on the Switch, but one of those Korok seed guys popped up, and for some reason the camera like jumped really close to his face, and it was exactly that. His little eyes were like block pixels, like super jaggy, and I was like, is that a design choice or is that just the texture?
So I guess I'm just surprised when I think of like Wind Waker HD, and I'm like, that was fucking gorgeous.
Right.
Granted, it's probably not as much, it's not as intense of a graphical, whatever you want to call it.
It was an
as this
easier
game
art
is,
style
but-
to program for, I'm
right.
sure.
Well, and even Breath of the Wild is kind of semi Wind Waker, but a little bit more
It reminds
realistic.
me a lot of like Skyward Sword, just not in great detail.
Yeah.
I felt like Skyward Sword, but like Skyward Sword had a lot of minute details that were a little bit more presented. I don't know. I feel like the art style they kind of find their. I
do really like all of the extra art that goes with the game. I fucking love all that stuff because like when I went to GameStop and got it, I didn't pre-order it. I just picked it up, and one of the girls behind the counter, they had a shitload of extra posters, gave me the posters for it, and the art for it is him in the blue tunic, but it looks like brushstrokes and everything, or like the in-game art of it being like on like canvas, kind of stuff. I really like all the fucking art for this game. Which I have two if either of you guys want one. And it's double-sided and it's fucking thick.
Double-sided. I would love one.
Shit, I might just go up there and ask for more.
When I was up there, they had like a whole fucking box of them, and that was last
your
Tuesday.
wife was telling us that we need to have a background of like some kind, so we should just get a bunch of Zelda posters and just put it all together as a mosaic.
Welcome to the Breath of the Wild podcast.
Nintendo news.
Welcome to the Meta Zeldas of the links of what if Zelda was a girl?
Get it right, you nerds.
So, my list.
So what don't you like, Danimal?
My list includes the weapon breaking. I feel like it is not realistic in that they're trying to be more realistic with, things break, things have durability, blah, blah, blah. But I should be able to hit a dude more than like maybe 5 times with a sword before it's like badly damaged and broken.
I think the durability matches for most of like the wooden weapons, like how it feels, especially like if it gets lit on
the wooden
fire.
weapon should break.
Exactly.
But a
metal
ones,
fucking sword. I mean, if anything, maybe after you use it a little while, make the damage go down, presumably to replicate it blunting. But
sure.
you know, I disagree that if you slam a sword against a tiny tree, that the sword just completely breaks.
Yeah, so that's my problem with it. I think they, as a
but
game
I do
mechanic,
like with the breaking weapons that you can be strategic with it, where whatever swing breaks the weapon does critical damage. So you can be at least kind of strategic, like if you know it's about to break. I do like that.
That's why you just throw it. When it says it's badly damaged, I just throw it, and that's critical damage.
I've hauled so many shit off the side of cliffs just to try to hit motherfuckers.
That's how I beat one of the bosses, because I ran out of arrows.
So you just like threw a weapon at
Threw a weapon at him and killed him.
I like knocking people the fuck out with like the end of a combo to where it like knocks a goblin back and they drop their weapon, and I sprint up to their spear and just immediately fucking chuck it at them as soon as they stand up.
But have you ever thrown a weapon and then they catch it and use it against you?
Like
midair?
Donkey video?
Like in the donkey video?
Yeah.
Oh no, you guys need to show me that video after this because I've heard about it, but I haven't seen
Oh
it.
my god,
fucking
it's
great.
so good.
But anyway, so weapon breaking.
My other thing,
By the way, if you guys want any beers,
I can't. No, I'm good.
I'm
you're
good.
doing a no carb thing. Sorry.
Yeah. I want to die.
My thing.
Kill me, but feed me a sandwich first.
I'll get used to it in like another week.
My other thing has nothing to do with Breath of the Wild necessarily, and everything to do with the Switch. The left controller desync issue. It is real, and it is a pain in the fucking ass in this game, where you're trying to carefully traverse.
That's only when it's not attached to the Switch, right? Like when it's attached to the Switch, it works fine, or is it just
In my
any
experience, for everybody out there who has a Switch and is, you know, experiencing the same problems, me personally, I have the day one patch. It works fine when it is attached to the Switch tablet.
Wait, so is this a hardware issue or a
It is
software?
a hardware issue.
They patched it thinking it was software, but then it's actually hardware.
There is a video that you can find on YouTube. I can't remember what the channel was, but they actually opened up the Joy-Con controllers to like try to figure out what was wrong with it. And it's because of the construction of the left Joy-Con. The CPU, which sends out a shit ton of signals, is right next to the antenna, the Bluetooth antenna that it uses to connect. So they just interfere with each other
you can
constantly.
add a wire. Like
I've seen the things they're talking about soldering a wire to help.
Yeah. So I might do that in the future. For me, it's annoying.
You spend all this on a fucking launch console and you have to like break it open and do something.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole nother story. What's more concerning is that Nintendo is kind of trying to get people to not do that. Like fix their own hardware so that they can enjoy their video games. Right. Which to me, that's a whole nother subject for a whole nother podcast. I don't agree with that whatsoever.
Oh, the whole like, if I buy it, I should be able to open it and fix it and not void a warranty kind of discussion.
If it's broken from launch.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Sure.
I should be able to fix it and not have to worry about my warranty.
Especially if you're the kind of person that like can do stuff like that.
Sure, I can. I have experience, but that's another story. But that makes the game extremely difficult when you're trying to do sensitive moving stuff, and then he just keeps going in whatever direction you were pressing last, and he jumps out of a fucking cliff.
Oh, so it doesn't give you like a signal lost like message and stop the game. It just continues with whatever.
It just does whatever it's doing.
Fuck.
So
that's worse.
It's annoying, but I've mitigated that. Took it out of my TV stand. I sit closer to it now. These are all things that I shouldn't have to do, but I'm
play in
willing
the closet
to do.
now.
Like I
only talk to it in gentle whispers.
Yeah,
I took it out to dinner. We went to a movie. We saw Breaking
and it still wouldn't give it up. Fucking piece of shit.
But
I'm a man. I have needs
because I am absolutely in love with this game. I will do anything.
It's something that's worth all the extra bullshit to you.
Yeah, I absolutely love this game. Chris and I've had a lot of conversations where I was at work and he texted me and goes, it's been a while since we've had a game where I do something and I'm like, holy crap, I got to tell Dan about this. It's
evoking a feeling of like, the last time I really remember this was when Pokemon first came out. Mm-hmm. When you discovered, like, you got a little bit ahead of your friends and you discovered some new fucking, like, dude, I got a fucking Electrode.
In a way, it feels like everybody's collectively playing it together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
everyone's
it's
kind of experiencing it in their own ways, but at the same time helping each other out to, like, get the full experience. I'm discovering new shit, and I would say that I'm probably well ahead of everybody at this point.
You are. I'm like halfway.
And
where
there's still shit that I discover on a regular basis that's just like, holy fuck.
I love discovering mechanics in this game.
And it's not even
the first
mechanics.
time I
it's
realized
just,
you can pick a treasure chest up out of the water with a magnet. I'm like, what the fuck?
Every
Fire
time-
an ice arrow into the lake.
every time I read like either user reviews or like professional reviews of people saying the world feels empty, I just have to look at them and say, like, what do you like? You're not looking hard enough. You're honestly not looking hard enough. There is so much shit that's out there in the world for you to get. There are fucking 900 Korok seeds. 900.
What?
There are 900
There
of
have been
them.
so many fucking times where I'll just be running around and I'll like, hey, that's a weird looking rock.
And then you go
Wait a
stand on
minute.
that rock and then you get something.
Or there's been a lot of times where it's like complete this circle of rocks with another rock.
Yeah, like,
Boom,
oh
you
man,
get
there's
one.
a design of rocks. I wonder what I should do with it.
Push a boulder down.
What is
a
this
mountain.
big ass giant fucking flower that I see? Maybe I should give it money.
Yeah.
Like, just a bunch of shit to discover. Like, if you just even go out into the sea and then you find that tiny ass little island, like, not to spoil too much for you, but I found an island that you basically have to have like 2 rows of stamina in order to get to fly over. And as soon as you land, it strips you of everything and says, start over from the beginning and find the shrine. Like, it just strips you of everything. And then it has like the hardest fucking enemies in the game. So it's basically like a little mini hard
Just for a
mode island.
Korok seed?
No, not for a Korok seed, for a shrine.
Oh, for a shrine. Okay.
But even still, like, it was just an island that I saw far off in the distance. I saw with my little camera. I said, I want to go there. I went there, and then it gave me something fucking cool to do. Like, what other game?
Well, and thank God that it rewards you at least with an experience of doing it, because really with how many shrines there really is no incentive to do one that is more difficult than the other than maybe you might get gear inside it, because your ultimate win other than the experience is only going to be 1 spirit shard.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, though, like some of those, the way I kind of heard it described was, it was like every time you did a dungeon in any of the other Zeldas and you had the puzzle rooms that you did 14 different fucking times going through a dungeon. It's like if they took those puzzle rooms, made it just its own little thing, and then rewarded you for completing it. Mm-hmm. And that was arguably one of the most fun things about Zelda is
And the shrines make sense in the scheme of the story as well, which is like a nice little touch, because when you first start playing, you're like, it's these shrines that are just, they're just here to test me. And then you realize there's like the purpose of why they even exist in the first place. It's all little touches that obviously Nintendo took their time to figure that shit out. I don't know. Every time I hear someone say that the world is empty, I'm just like, I don't agree with you at all.
So let's backtrack a little bit. So were you done with all of your complaints? Or at least the ones you want to talk about?
Yeah, I would say I'm pretty done complaining. I'm going into fanboy mode.
So Chris, what are your complaints before we just start slobbing all over this thing even more? Like, what are some missed opportunities or things you thought it could have done better? Or
I wish the music would have been more prominent in this game, because I actually went and listened to the soundtrack on YouTube because somebody uploaded it, and it's another hit. Like, Zelda always has a really great soundtrack, and it's unfortunate that it's very selective about when it uses it. But when it uses it, it's fucking fantastic. Like when you're fighting the divine beasts, when you're doing like certain storyline missions, like fucking people. Those are the big 4 dungeons. They're divine beasts and they're incredible. Or like certain story beats will have like really cool story moments. But for the most part, when you're out in the world, it's ambiance. It's, you hear the birds
most
chirping.
of what I've done is being out in the world. So that's why, like, when you said the soundtrack, I'm like,
oh shit, I haven't heard anything.
I don't even remember there being a soundtrack.
So it's disappointing in that sense, but at the same time, from a design standpoint, it would not make sense to have music just playing all the time.
That's where, like, I would disagree that it's an issue, because
it's an issue because I personally want more.
There's been quite a few moments where you're standing at the top of a mountain and literally all you hear, Breath of the Wild, you hear the wind, you hear birds in the distance. Like, you literally just take in the environment and where you're at, and just you're listening to everything. So to have even like an underscore would detract from
it does that really well, because there's a lot of times where you're having these kind of like visual moments with the game, and there'll just be kind of an underlying piano.
It's like these
tune that's right underneath
self-contained
it
in your head, like you're just standing on top of a mountain.
If you're sailing and you're sailing really far over a certain amount of time, some music will kind of kick in that follows through. It's just you get so used to the formula that you kind of have that expectation, and that being like one of the best things that Zelda has going for itself, which is the soundtrack. I would have loved to have heard it more in the game.
Right.
But I understand from a design standpoint why it's not always there.
To speak to that, there is one memory in particular that you get, and it's, I want to say...
To be clear, for those of you at home, the memories are literally like items that you collect to give you more of the story.
Yeah. So there's one memory where Link, I don't know if you've seen this one yet, where Link kind of assumes his role as knight and protector of Zelda.
Yep.
And it is the first and probably only time you hear dun 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 dun, dun and it's perfect. It is just it's perfection in minimalism.
Right.
And I thought it was interesting in that they said that they were going back to their roots. A large part of the soundtrack is non-orchestral. It's all piano. They stripped all of the sounds of dun 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 dun, just high-end piano notes. The dun da 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 da, all piano. Everything is just basic, the most basic and universally loved of instruments.
Still fucking love the Great Fairy Fountain music whenever you go and find her.
Yeah. And just, it's all the themes that you know and love, but stripped down to its bare elements. And it's exactly what they said they were going to do.
Well, in a lot of ways, I feel like that's what the game is. Like, I mean, obviously it's not stripped down to the bare because it has a lot more complex mechanics than any of the other Zeldas did. But I mean, like this game, I think part of why this game is so successful is because it's like, I kind of feel like for a while, Nintendo as a whole, but specifically the Zelda games, have kind of just been getting like farther and farther up their own ass with the best of intentions, but getting a little too far down that quintessential like Nintendo route. And finally, you know, they took a step back and as cliche as it sounds, they went back to their roots and literally like, okay, you know, the original Zelda, the smash hit, they used that and made a prototype version of it like Zelda 2 and then made that to essentially be like the theme for how they created Breath of the Wild. When really, when you think about it, to be able to take a game from like a 2D top-down side, whatever perspective you want to call it, space, in a completely different system, completely different perspective and everything, but still nail all of the themes and things that made that game so great, but in a modern setting with modern touches and game mechanics. It's kind of one of those like, if I knew you motherfuckers were this kind of genius this entire fucking time, I would have played 7 Skyward Swords if I would have known Breath of the Wild was fucking coming.
Exactly.
Because this game is just that goddamn good. Like, it makes me forgive them for every fucking thing Nintendo has ever done that has made me not like Nintendo.
Like not do a Metroid game in like 10 years?
I've got it. I've got to agree.
I'm still going to hark on that.
It's at this point where I fully embrace the hyperbole.
It's at this point I realize my relationship with Nintendo is an abusive
before you get into some
relationship.
hyperboles, I still have other problems.
Yeah.
Give us
Sorry.
your problems that we can turn into strengths. Because
I
that's
started
what we
getting
did
into
with your
my own
soundtrack.
ass.
I mean, don't get me wrong. That was the least of my cons because it was more of a personal thing. I wanted to hear more of it in the game, but I knew why I wasn't hearing it in the game.
Must go deeper.
Let's see.
The second one was more on me too. It took me a lot longer than expected to get used to the controls. I felt like they were overly complex for no reason.
Well, I think even the layout is not an efficient layout.
No, the menu system is atrocious because I always want to use the shoulder buttons to move between menus, and then I do that and it's like, wait, why am I looking at the map now? Wait, why am I trying to save the game now? I just wanted to go cook real quick. But I can't do that because you have to use, the right analog stick to move between the sub menus. A lot of weird decisions. You get used to it after a while, especially like my problem was I always had a problem of like, I want to pull out my bow now, but I don't want to shoot it. And I didn't realize that if you just tap the button, it'll automatically pull out your bow without aiming down your reticle all of a sudden.
What?
I always pull it out, draw it, and then just hit B to cancel my arrow.
If you just tap the Z button.
Son of a bitch. Bamboozled again.
God damn it, Nintendo.
Damn it, Shigeru, whatever your name is.
So yeah,
I feel like right when you discovered just to hit it, all you should have heard was and that was it. Mechanic unlocked.
But I mean,
Dumbass.
you've been playing it for a really long
Breath
time,
of
and
the
you've been
dumb
playing
shit.
it for a good amount, and that never occurred to you that that's a thing that can happen because it's minute detail in the control scheme that, while very brilliant when you figure it out, I shouldn't have to figure that out. Like, I'm not telling you the game should like tell me that's a thing, but at the same time, moving between all the weapons and different stuff that you can do.
I feel like
is a
every
little
time I
overwhelming
talk
at
to
first.
somebody or watch a video, it goes back to what we were saying earlier about, you know, everybody going these different routes. You're in the middle of a race. You're farther than all of us. Everybody's experience being different. It's like every time I've talked to somebody or watched a video, somebody else has done something that I didn't even know. Like what Chris just said, like that. Or for example, when enemies come running at you with barrels, you can use fucking stasis on the barrel while they're holding it. And then they can no longer use the fucking barrel. I'm like, I haven't even done that. That's not even mine. I can't own that. I saw it on a fucking like a Reddit thread. And I'm just like, God, Nintendo, I love you so much. Carry on, Chris.
Or, you know, you'll see in Donkey's video, he does some very creative things that, like, I've done one or two things that he's done, but it's just like some of the shit that he figured out. You're like, how the fuck?
Have just real quick, sorry to interrupt you again. Have either of you set off like a thermonuclear fucking chain reaction by throwing a bomb in when there's explosive barrels?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when you do it and they're inside of one of the little skull huts. So you see them all sleeping and you're like,
Okay,
"Good
so
night, you pieces of shit." And you just throw the bomb and all you see is fire and like 7 life bars just disappear at the same time.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
no. I'm gonna one up that story because I definitely figured that out, and I was like, how can I make this more entertaining for myself? So it's very much like the situation where you see the skull, they're sleeping inside of it. You just start putting some barrels in there and you blow them up. But I was like, I'm gonna take this one step further. So I found one where they were all
I raped their mothers first.
I found one where they were all sleeping. And then they had one that it was like one of the like lamps that was like hanging that you can like shoot down. So as they were sleeping, I put a couple of barrels in there to kind of make the explosion a little bigger. And then I made a noise. So they all woke up, put stasis on one of them, and then shot the thing out of the air. And then you can literally watch them look up as they notice that their demise is coming. And then the guy who's frozen, nothing happens to him at first, but then because of the kinetic energy that you have just created, he shot out of one of the eyeballs and just fucking went over the hill.
Link, the sadomasochist.
Anyway, that was a con for the game.
He could have gone
Could have
farther.
gone farther. No, but honestly, my biggest problem, and I feel like I probably had it way worse than you guys, is the frame rate in this game is just absolutely atrocious, to the point where like I can understand slowdown in really busy sections, like when you get to like Kakariko Village, or when you get to any big village in general, or like really wooded, foresty kind of areas, because there's certain parts in the game that it slows down really hard. But I've had it to the point where it legitimately stopped. The game legitimately stopped 3 or 4 times on me, would have to wait 5 seconds, and then the game would catch up. And by then I got hit because the game is still registering actions. And I can understand drops of frame rate because the Wii U is not a very good system. And from what I understand, the Switch isn't that big of an improvement. But if the game legitimately just like stops working for a couple of seconds, that's really fucking bad.
Well, I think what I heard is I don't know if it's different on the Switch, but on the Wii U, it's supposedly locked at 30 frames. And then even when the frame rate drops, like
It's supposed to go to 20.
you're losing like that's a third of your fucking frames. And then in your like I haven't personally had it stop completely on me, other than like when I've loaded a file and it hangs for a second, like when you're in the world but it hasn't really loaded yet.
Right.
But I haven't had what you like where you're in the middle of a fight and then everything
It literally
just
stops for like 4 or 5 seconds. I'm in mid swing, and then the game just kind of stops, but you know the game isn't frozen because the music is still playing.
right.
The fight music is still going on, so you
Especially
just
that's a
wait
little-
it out, and you're like, what's going to happen? At least this game auto saves a fuck ton, so
Yeah.
I'm not really going to lose that much. But
It's very
that's-
forgiving too with like you'll go into a fight get killed, and then you'll end up like on the other side of the riverbank with all your items back. And you're like, okay, I'm either going to try. Also, one of the other things I like is at any point, if you're in the middle of a fight and you're getting fucked up,
You can just leave.
you can pause and fucking fast travel out of there. It does not fucking matter. It does not try to stop you, and it does not lock you.
So, in my experience, I've only had a couple of frame rate issues. Nothing that bad. It's usually when the lighting and the particle effects are in full swing. So, like when your weapon breaks, it usually shatters into a bunch of bright blue particly pieces.
Which makes sense as a wooden sword.
Yeah. And only when I've been fighting a ton of enemies and there's a lot going on does the frame rate ever drop. So it is not, in my experience, as bad as that. Definitely not as bad as it stopping. So that might just be a processor power issue between the Switch and the Wii U.
Possibly.
Possibly.
I don't know. They work at different resolutions too for that very reason, but I don't know.
And I have read that it runs better when it's in tablet mode.
Yep. How that works, I'm not sure,
I've
but
had
it does.
no problems on the TV mode.
Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's not. I don't know. I can handle frame rate issues to a point. Yeah. The light frame range is just
Fucking lighting.
unfortunately we like froze up completely, so it's like
Buffering.
someone go hit reset button real quick.
I only had 4 hearts, so I'm already dead.
I can look
I only
past it
had
for
4
the most
hearts,
part.
so I'm already dead.
But if it happens more consistently, then it really does kind of break the immersion feeling that you get, which kind of sucks. You're just going to hold that instead so you can lean
Yeah,
back.
because I want to lean back. My back hurts. Baby boy's having some pains.
So
So
you
what?
got any more cons?
No, that's honestly really it as far as the cons. I mean, I was trying to be super proactive last week, and I made like an entire list of things about this game, so that way I knew what to talk about.
But now, like you're over a week in instead of like 2 days in. So,
But even then, those 2 days, I put probably close to like 16 hours into the game. So
oh yeah,
at that point, I probably still could have had a very good opinion about the game.
So, what are something we can do an all play on this one? What's something that you guys like? It's not a complaint, but you think could have been done better. Like kind of like how you had mentioned the soundtrack. Like you do like when it's there, but it could have been done better. But what's something that you're like, this is cool, but it could have been better implemented?
I would have to say, honestly, I mean the story. The story is really intriguing. The game makes you work for it, which I liked. But there's some like intriguing things that happen in there that I wish that there was more of a backstory given, right? Like seeing all of the memories and Link restoring his memory is great. I haven't beaten the game yet, so maybe it fills in some more as I go, but I feel like I'm seeing 75% of a story. And while I care, I have to ask the question, would I care if it wasn't Zelda? Would I think this game is as good as it is if it was not Zelda?
Which we can get to that in a minute, because I literally have a section of questions, and that's one of them is, are we giving this game a pass because it's Zelda? You know, to piggyback on that, not really piggyback, but I would say probably the most inconsistent part, at least with the storytelling, is the voice acting. Some of it is really good, really good. Like the Goron is great.
Yeah.
The Zora is good. Like the Prince Zora, the little times that he like gets to talk, he's great. Good character. But then characters like I can't remember his name, but the bird guy is kind of.
What the fuck? Okay, Nintendo, real quick.
Why does every bird have to be like Falco?
Yeah, why
He doesn't have to be Falco.
Why do you hate birds, Nintendo? Is there like some weird like anti fucking Toriyama thing that's going on here? Do you just hate birds?
Because
Because
every
they're-
bird character they make is literally a fucking jackass.
It's a fucking asshole.
But also,
The
Maybe they just
the
think
voice
birds are so cool.
the voice actor wasn't that good. That my complaint is that the voice acting is inconsistent. Some
I
of
was
it is
surprised
really
the first
good,
time
and
the
then some
king
of it's
was
kind of
talking.
wishy-washy.
When you meet the king in the broken temple of time and he actually starts talking,
Yeah.
I was like, because I don't think at that point there were any like spoken dialogue, at least maybe outside of like an opening cinematic or whatever. But
Outside of Zelda telling you to like leave the cave, no, it
right.
wasn't.
But so as soon as it's
Or,
like
you know, the Philips CDI ones, they had full voice acting.
when the first time that he was, I just had to blink through that one. The first time he's standing in front of you, and I'm like, all right, it's gonna be a lot of "Hoo!" and there's gonna be like 14 lines of dialogue because that's what Zelda's always done. Hey, come to me, and then it's just a whole paragraph. He actually kind of started talking to me, and for a second, I wanted to like look around my room, like, who the fuck is that? Then I realized, oh shit, that's coming from that new Zelda shit. Oh shit, that's that new shit. This strange is tight. Sorry, guys, I took it to a deep, wet place.
Woof.
I'll say, sorry, were you done with your point, the voice acting?
Yes.
The one thing that kind of stands to mind to me that stands out is like the cooking, because I don't think the cooking is bad, and I don't want them necessarily to explain to me how cooking works, but I think specifically I would like a better organized way of keeping track of either recipes or just organizing, because like my dumbass in the beginning of the game, I made like 32 haste potions. Then I learned that there's a limit to the number of meals that you can make, not items you pick up, but meals that you make. And then I started realizing I couldn't make any meals for food or complete quests where they give you a meal as part of the quest, because I had 32 fucking haste potions that ranged from 30 seconds to 25 fucking minutes. So then I'm sitting here, and at that point
I'm just imagining you humming at the TV as Link is humming at the bowl, and you're just like a constant hum for the next 20 minutes as you keep making the same goddamn haste potion.
Oh, I jam that X for skip so fucking hard, because I do not feel
I can't skip that. It's too adorable.
I gotta say, yeah,
Because he like looks down
Craft
at it.
32 fucking haste potions, you'll learn to skip it.
Well, maybe to learn how to fucking cook, and maybe you won't have a problem in the kitchen. God
And furthermore, how the fuck do you cook a potion? Do you just boil Sprite? I got a haste potion.
you fucking noob.
You fucking weeb boo.
So
stop it with the grasshoppers. Get a frog in there.
Throw some monster parts up. You fucked it up. Now it's a porn food. You can't see it.
I
It's
do appreciate
pixelated.
the little details when if you fuck up a recipe, it like starts crashing all the dishes. Or like if you find like the good combination, it like makes more noise
Yeah.
in your favor, and you're like,
And then there's some haste potions that are longer than others.
yeah.
yeah,
But yeah, that's my.
yeah. I gotta say, like sometimes I just want to make 5 baked apples.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to hold 5 apples. I want to bake them. I want 5 baked apples. I don't want fucking simmered fruit.
Yeah.
Okay, it shouldn't be so tedious to make more than one of.
Even if it was like
Okay,
a Minecraft
so-
style of like just dropping mats into us. Like
Remember how we were
specific thing.
talking about the game rewards you when you figure shit out? Don't use the pot. Just throw it on a fucking open fire. Just drop it. And then you have
Well,
5
for
baked
those
apples.
specific things, yeah, that'll work perfectly fine. But you can't make complex dishes. Like you can't make multi-ingredient dishes by throwing it on the fire.
No. But what he's saying is he wants to make 5 baked apples. Take the 5 apples, put it on an open fire without the pot.
Well, I guess I'm just a fucking moron.
And I
At least
also
in
learned
that
if you-
specific situation. Like, I
Thanks.
get what you're saying, that it's the cooking is a little obtuse, and I will piggyback on by saying that my problem with it is it's not complex enough. Like, once you figure out what certain items do what,
you
and
can trigger whatever stats
and
you want.
figure out that you can't combine stats, which is the most atrocious thing in my opinion. What if I want cold resistance and increase my heart total? Why can't I do both?
Thank God it doesn't do like The Witcher, where if you drink too many, you get negative effects.
Yeah.
Because for a game that you can't hotkey any healing items while playing, you have to fucking pause the game to heal, which is another problem that I have, but a very minor one. Thank God that you can literally eat an entire golden corral of fucking food in mid-fight and be like, hold on, guys, it's my second plate. You're gonna need to chill. I know that you're.
But
a
what
fucking
about second
deity.
breakfast?
Yeah,
Bree fucking dual fist apples. That's like her favorite thing to do. Yeah, so she just slams the button and he's just like, oh. And he switches hands.
those are my favorite fucking Korok seed puzzles. Is when you walk up and there's 4 statues that have apples and there's a 5th one, and you just kind of
like,
sit here.
I should
Do
just
I drop my balls in this 5th one? What am I supposed to do?
So I found a thing. A con.
A con?
A con. Nintendo, real quick. You made Link right-handed.
Yeah.
That was okay in
Skyward Sword.
Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword, wherein the majority, the majority of the human race is right-handed, and we mostly use that hand to swing the sword, and to provide us an analog, you made our character right-handed. Link has been left-handed forever. Why did you
However,
left-
this is not the same Link in every game.
And it wasn't the same Link before, but Link has been consistently left-handed.
If he's green, he's left-handed.
I mean, even in the GameCube version of Twilight Princess, he was left-handed. They only changed him to right because they realized, oh shit, no one's going to put the Wiimote controller in their left hand.
Right.
Except idiots like myself who totally would
Except
have.
the fucking quiz.
Well, your
Bunch of
opinion on
firefighters.
Southpaws notwithstanding, that was a weird little minor thing that I was just like, as a Zelda nerd, come on, he's left-handed, always has been.
I feel like that's a detail while a really big fanatic can get behind. Even if you're like partially a fan, it doesn't really
affect the gameplay.
It doesn't really change anything.
No, it doesn't do anything. But that's just one of those Nintendo fanboy like niggles that I can throw out there.
You got really close there, buddy.
Yeah, real close. Do you have any more cons, Chris? Do you have any like?
No, but I will ask you, out of everything that's in this game, what's the best? What's the best thing about this game? If you can just nail it down into one idea.
Attention to detail, mechanics.
Elaborate.
Yeah, like James
If you
was
can
saying,
see it, you can go there.
you can see it, you can go there. If you think something will work, it probably will. Like James was saying, lighting a bunch of grass on fire to create a natural updraft that you can fly on. Yes, it works. Rolling a bomb down a hill endlessly into a moblin camp and then blowing it up remotely. It works.
If an enemy attacks you with electricity and you're holding metal weapons, you lose all the metal weapons.
You drop them. Yep. If you're standing in a puddle and it shoots a shock arrow at you, you're fucked. Like,
Yeah, that's a minor detail that I was wondering, like, how the fuck am I getting hurt? He's not hitting me. And then I realized I was standing in a puddle and he was missing me on purpose and shooting the puddle that I was in. And I was like, holy
You
fuck.
crafty sumbitch.
10 out of 10. It's like Skyrim, but
Bamboozled
with more,
again.
Skyrim with more swords.
the details are just frankly incredible, that they give you so many options to do one thing in the game. You know, you and I took very different paths to get to a lot of the same objectives. We established that when we were in the room together playing, and you were like, oh, I did this. And I was like, well, I'm doing this. They both worked.
See,
Like, that's amazing. That's incredible.
I mean, a good example of that is the one puzzle shrine where you have to, unfortunately, use motion controls and move a ball through a maze track, and then the answer that we all came up with was to take our controller
Independently, mind you.
Independently, we did not talk about this together. Turned it upside down so
Bros
that
for
way
life.
we were on a flat surface to get it across the way that we needed to get to without any gates in the way.
We all said fuck the lemons and bailed.
Yeah. And then I also ended up seeing that post on Reddit like 2 days later. I'm like, there's more than one of us.
The one downside to that, one of many of that particular puzzle is, so the way I've been playing, I just happen to have had my Wii pad, like I play with the Pro controller on the Wii U, and I had my Wii pad like over to the right of me on my pillow. And when I got to that puzzle and, you activate the little thing and it tells you have to use your Wiimote. Well, what it does is it bases the standard positioning of that puzzle on where the Wiimote was when the Wii controller activates. So it was perpendicular to me, like over here, like facing on to me. So when I grabbed it and turned it, my entire fucking puzzle spun like a goddamn dreidel. And I'm just kind of sitting here like, do I have to turn the Wii off to like reset? What the fuck do I do? So I backed off the little button, went back to the Pro controller, set the gamepad in front of me perfectly angled with me, and said, now let's play the game, and hit the fucking button. It's like I jacked into the Matrix again. And then it was finally positioned correctly for me to still fucking hate it.
Yeah. There's more than one motion control puzzle in that game, and all of them are not.
Won't do them. I'll skip those tries.
You're going to want to do them if you want 100% a game, but
I ain't gonna 100% it.
I don't think anybody's going to 100% it.
Fuck
to be honest.
No, because whenever Bree was like, I got nothing to do, I'm like, guess what? You got a Hyrule compendium to fill, dumbass. Yeah. Have fun.
Go take pictures of mushrooms. Gotta catch them all, baby.
Baby.
Is that a sun shroom? No, it's a stamina shroom.
It's a stamella shroom.
Stamella.
James, I know you have a limited range of what you've seen so far, but what's your favorite thing about Breath of the Wild?
I'd say my favorite thing is mechanics. No, I'd say that I'm actually surprised with the world itself, because I think it's, we've all played open world games that were open world, yay, but didn't really have shit in it or anything that really compelled you to care that it was open world. Like some games I've played, you could have made this a linear fucking game and it would have been better for it. But I think probably at least the one thing that I had the least expectation was going to be done right would be the world itself. And I've only gone to probably a quarter of the world, so I haven't even really experienced that many different climates. And I've seen pictures of like desert areas, more tropical areas, stuff like that. But largely I've just been on the Great Plateau in a couple snowy parts, and then over near east, the Kakariko. So it's like some, not even really swampy, but still more forest than anything else. So I haven't even really got to experience the other landscapes. But I'm really surprised with how distinct the areas feel, but still being all one like contiguous world and it being believable. And like one of the things that I'd actually just thought of when I was in the shower was, for the first time, it feels like, at least in my experience, something is finally represented in this game as being Asian, like in the sense of Kakariko Village. Everybody's very much like Asian. And then I kind of realized something. Kakariko Village is in the east. Japan in the east. So it finally kind of clicked to me where I'm like, oh, okay, there's actually, at least for Kakariko Village, there's kind of at least a real world kind of parallel to where it is in position of everything else. I'm going to go ahead and probably assume, I don't know for sure, but I'm going to assume like the Gerudo Desert is probably south, because that makes me think of Africa being a little bit more, obviously not like southern from us being in the United States, but deserts being typically more southern, closer to the equator kind of thing.
It is in the southwest.
It is? Mm-hmm. So I'm assuming north would be colder.
Yes.
Part of it, yeah.
And then would west be more jungle?
No, the jungle lies to the southeast.
No,
so like South America kind of.
The jungle is more to the west, above the sand dunes. Because
either way,
the desert is southwest.
I mean, wouldn't you say that the area that we were in when I was playing the other day, when I was trying to get to that tower with the Wizrobe?
Yeah.
That's jungle.
Yeah, but that was west.
That was east of Lake Hylia. It was in the southeast.
Was it?
Yeah.
So either way,
it's kind of dead south, a little bit east.
It reminds me of the original Zelda, of going into, this grouping of screens is specifically desert. This grouping of screens is more water. This is Zora's domain, blah, blah, blah. I think that's the biggest thing with the game that I was, because I always, the combat, I honestly don't come to Zelda for complex combat mechanics. Really, like in any of them, I haven't really thought of it that way. I do like it's not drastically different from, say, Ocarina of Time in this one, but I do like having a dedicated jump button, even if you hop and don't really jump. But I think the biggest thing about this game that has been kind of like I really like the way this was implemented specifically is giving you an open world, but also, contrary to all the people saying that it's empty, giving you incentive to explore this world.
Well, they said that the main character in the game is the world. They said that in their like launch.
I did not know that. But that makes sense. It's a believable Hyrule.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
Yeah, but they're always going to say that shit. Like, well, the experience is the main character. Because that's selling the game.
New York City was the extra character in Sex and the City. FYI.
That was actually the antagonist. They were fighting the city.
No, the antagonist was big because he should have never left. Anyway.
Yeah, should have never ended up with her.
You got any more questions for us?
No, that's not really questions. It was just kind of peeking at the brains, seeing what you guys thought of like what the best feature of the game was.
What's your best feature?
My strong chiseled jaw.
Yes.
My beard.
I would probably, to continue with James's conversation about the open world, they give you the tools to properly incentivize you to actually want to explore it. Instead of every other open world game lately, here is a map that is already filled out for you or mostly filled out. And then as soon as you fill out the part that you fill out, like Assassin's Creed, for example, here are all the markers that we just gave you because you now scouted the place out. So now you know where everything is, even though when you really don't.
It's like a big fucking game version of a Publix to-do list.
It's
check this off, check this off, check
look
this
at all
off.
these arbitrary things that have little to no connection with what is actually going on. Number one, in the story. Number two, in the world. It's just distractions to artificially increase the length of a game.
Right.
Instead of incentivizing you to be like, no, go fucking find shit. That's the point of the game. The game shouldn't have to hand you where all the shrines are. I shouldn't be able to go to a seller in the town who's like, oh, you want to find all of the shrines? I have a map of them because I know where they are and you can buy it for 500 rupees or whatever. They're like, no, we just know they exist. We know of a couple of locations. Some of them even have quest lines because they have hints to them. It's like, well, I heard of this ancient tale that if you shoot between two of these circular rocks, that something amazing might happen. And then you have to go figure it out. You have to find the circular rocks and then you have to find a way to shoot through them because the game was like, well, we know that it's there somewhere, but we don't know where, we don't know how, we don't know why. Just go fucking play the game.
Well, it's believable in a world of people that know that these shrines exist and they coexist with them, but who the fuck's discovered them all?
And incentivizing you by having what I think is the best mechanic that they added, which was climbing. Allowing you to climb fucking anything except when you're in.
Except when it's raining.
Except when it's raining, which again makes sense.
Brilliant.
Even though it's brilliant, but it also happens to rain every fucking time I need to climb. Every time I'm like, I want to go there, it's like, well, I guess it's time for a lightning storm. You're not going to climb. And oh, you have the Master Sword equipped? Well, you're fucking immediately dead. You piece of shit. Anyway, so they implemented climbing and then giving you the parasail early. Very early in the game, incentivized you to be like, I'm on top of a mountain. I can see everything. I'm looking down. I see a shrine there. I see a shrine there. I see a fucking town there. Let's just fucking jump and parasail. Let's just fucking go. Let's go explore the world. Let's
like
let's not keep
jumps
looking at the map and being like, well, I've marked off a couple of these things that the map already gave me, but now I see all these other collectibles that mean fucking nothing to me whatsoever. Let's go do that so the map can clear up. No, the map only fills up when you find it, which is the best thing.
Well, and even then, nothing even gets placed on the map unless you start marking it and putting stamps.
Yeah.
Like I've come up with my own system of like, okay, if I find a great fairy, I put this stamp there. If I found a treasure chest I couldn't solve, I put this stamp there. And
yeah, Bree's got a whole system. If she finds like a random boss. Okay, just to talk about how different the experience was. She was on the Great Plateau, and which is the initial area in the game. She texts me and she's like, did you fight the Cyclops? I'm like, the hell are you talking about?
Wait, was that the rock golem?
Oh, then she found the rock guy.
Oh, okay.
And then I was like, what the hell are you talking about? I did the 4 shrines. I went on my way. I jumped and parasailed my way off to adventure. She goes, well, I've just been hanging out. And
There's a rock mini boss.
yeah, she's like, I just was walking
And
around
a
and
Cyclops
a rock
mini box.
dude came out of there. And
There's a Cyclops too?
And she's
Oh.
like, I haven't even left. And I'm like, all this crazy shit's happening. And I'm like, what? I was like, how did you have this much of a different experience?
So I'll ask you this because, again, different people are having different experiences. How did you get to the shrine that was on top of the mountain in the cold area?
I did it with elixirs because I did not have the appropriate.
I already did it very differently.
You're like, I just fucking hauled ass.
Wait,
You
are you talking
sheer strength and determination.
The initial area?
No,
I'm
like the
saying
ice area.
in the Great Plateau.
Oh, that
sh-
one.
the shrine
I just
that-
held a torch the whole time.
Yeah,
Okay.
I heard that you can do that, but you just can't run with it
No.
because then you put it out.
No.
So
but-
what I did, I discovered the old man's house before I even discovered the old man. Then just randomly, because you don't know where the old man is going to go. And I think I did like one of the other shrines or whatever. And I went back over to that corner because I remembered, hey, there's a shrine up there. I need to go, because basically what it was is I found that shrine before you actually activated the Sheikah slate. So I couldn't go into any shrines, but I had already chopped a tree down, made a bridge, climbed, and found that shrine. Couldn't fucking go into it though. So I was like, all right, I guess I'll come back to this later. Got the tower, got the old guy, activated the slate, did the first one that's right there that he tells you to go to. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm going to go back to this one. So by the time I went back over there, he's over there just fucking chopping trees, just like, I'm old and this is what I'm doing in my retirement. But before I talked to him, I went into his little hut because I was like, oh, that's right. Last time I was over here, he had a woodcutter axe in there. And because I'm a fucking jackass, I was slow swinging my wood axe against every single goblin I could find and broke the motherfucker. So I was like, I need another axe. I went in there, and as I run in to grab this axe, I see a fucking book on the table. So I'm like, this book is brighter than its surroundings. My gamer knowledge tells me that's usually something
Gamer
you can
intuition is
interact
telling me
with.
that I should interact with this
The
thing.
Scooby-Doo intuition.
Yeah, ruh-roh. And then I run over to the thing and I start reading it, and it's his journal talking about this fucking like meat fish dish that he made that he can only remember the ingredients of meat and something else, and he forgot the third ingredient. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, well, it's fucking fish. So it's got to be something that you make with fish. So I run over to a fucking pot. Because I basically raped the entire land of every living creature I could find. I had all the materials to do it. And I had like 40 fucking arrows before my first shrine. So I guess you could say I was kind of like Dom and Fast and the Furious, just doing whatever the fuck I wanted to do. So I went ahead and made this dish, and I ran up to the old fucker, and I get all up in his face, and it's like, hey, I cooked something. And I just show him what the fuck I cooked. And he's just like, oh my God, I love that thing. I forgot the recipe for it. How did you make it? And he goes, well, I guess since I know this recipe, I don't need this warm tunic anymore. And then he gives you the fucking tunic that lowers the threshold for cold. And I could just basically, as Weekend at Bernie's the whole time I was up in the mountains just having fucking fun. I could do whatever the fuck I wanted.
So...
And it was pretty sweet to find a
used the
piece of clothing.
You did the whole quest to give him, for him to give you the tunic. I did the other 3 shrines except the one that was on top because it wasn't clicking with me like how to take care of the cold. But I found his house and he had already left because I had already talked to him. And there was a treasure chest where I just opened it up and it was the tunic. I didn't have to do the quest for him.
Motherfucker.
Oh, I did that too. That's how I got my warm doublet. Was I found it after the fact.
Then once you go to one of the villages, they have it for sale.
Yeah, and then I bought it again by mistake because I didn't think I had it. But now I have 2 and that's totally fine.
I have the super dope feather lined super cold thing, but I initially climbed a tower in the far northeast that is super, super cold just by making potions.
Just sheer determination. That's how I got to the dueling peak things. I blew through every single fucking... I did not have a single stamina upgrade, and I managed to make it to both dueling tower shrines while it was raining, mind you, by using every single fucking stamina food that I had.
Of all 30 of those elixirs that I had.
God damn. Well, I also learned that so I was thinking increasing your climbing speed would help you. It really doesn't, because like I found a bandana in one of the shrines that it passively increases your climbing speed. Having faster climbing speed or running speed or whatever speed drains your stamina faster also.
So after you upgrade it.
What do you mean?
Not after you upgrade it.
Upgrade what?
The armor.
Well, I stopped wearing the bandana after I upgraded it because I found some cool fucking armor. But
you can upgrade armor in this game. I won't tell you how you can do it.
Well, no, I mean I know you can because I did. But the Great Fairy.
When you upgrade armor, upgrade the climbing stuff.
It no longer will drain your stamina fast. Oh, okay.
It drains at normal speed.
Well, but when you use potions and stuff, it still drains your stamina faster, though, right?
I don't know. I have 2 full bars, so I don't never use a
I
stamina.
don't know. I mean, my dick's 8 inches, so don't ask me questions about little dick shit.
That's where he's at right now. Oh, you don't have the Master Sword? Fucking pleb.
I thought I had the Master Sword because the game fucking tricks you and gives you a rusty ass fucking hook wheel.
All right, so here's the.
I was like, damn, I don't know why Chris posted a whole Facebook post about an innovative fucking puzzle. I found this fucking stupid ass mess. That's a rusty sword. Damn it.
So speaking of rusty equipment, the neatest thing that I found, and
I already know what you're gonna say.
And I found this because of Reddit, unfortunately, that if you throw a rusty item to an Octorok that's sucking in air, it'll spit it out clean.
Because its stomach acid gets rid of the rust.
Spoilers.
Whole new world.
I'm going to pick up every rusty piece of shit I find.
And I'm going to launch it at motherfuckers.
A new broadsword and spear for you.
Wow, amazing. A new halberd from the Rito village. Can we do the thing now?
Yeah, what's your hyperbole here?
Oh, yeah.
You're about to...
This is going to turn into the Dan
So here
Dan
it
pod.
is, the final verdict from...
There's a few...
So, hold on. Are we going to go out on this diatribe?
yeah.
Wait, what are we at?
It's like 45?
40... Okay. So you got 15 minutes to get your hyperbole out. What are we at?
Actually at 50.
Okay.
Okay, so...
All right, Dan on, Dan.
Hang
I'm going to lean back and put my mic down.
No, we've definitely had like an hour and 10.
Okay,
Oh,
that's
shit.
what I thought.
All right.
Okay, so
Either way.
this is a perfect time to do this.
Fuck it. This one's... We'll do it live. We're going live.
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Okay, so there's a point where you go to walk towards the Master Sword after you traverse the Lost Woods, which is really fucking hard in this game, by the way.
Spoilers.
You walk,
James is a little upset now.
you make it through the clearing, and the game does an obvious throwback to Link to the Past because you travel through a hollowed out log, and it looks exactly like the thing, and then you come upon...
I'm
Can you
sure
just
this will
let
be
this
fun
man-
when I experience it the first time.
Yeah, and man, it's gonna be great for you.
God damn it,
So
Daniel.
you...
Spoiler, Logan dies and Xavier dies. This entire podcast is now ruined for you.
Great. So anyway, and Nintendo basically just at that moment pulls out its dick and says, "You thought we couldn't do this anymore." And we just fucking did. We made a game that is not only on the level of The Legend of Zelda and The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, but we've surpassed that. In my opinion, and this is as a person who barely plays video games and is somehow on this podcast, and hates most things, hated the last 5 Legend of Zelda games.
That's a little unfair.
Hated them all.
What are the last 5?
Anything.
Okay, so Skyward Sword definitely was not good.
Twilight Princess was a steaming pile of shit.
Well, it was cold shit. It wasn't steaming.
It's giving it too much credit.
I'm talking about just like the 3D Zeldas. Anything after Ocarina of Time, which I enjoyed Ocarina of Time.
Ooh, I don't know. Wind Waker is pretty fucking good.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
I have to take Wind Waker out.
And the only other Zelda
take my
that I
shirt
can
off.
defend that has come out since Ocarina and to now, not including Breath of the Wild, is A Link Between Worlds. You got to take that out of the equation because that's like a whole nother experience.
So anyway, do you take out the Minish Cap or Minish
Oracle
Cap?
of Seasons.
So as we start taking out all the games that we said were fucking sucks,
No.
really it comes down to 2 that sucked.
No. Like
The last 5 games I hated, asterisk.
all the handhelds except Link's Awakening and Link Between Worlds are pointless in my opinion.
Man, we're turning into a whole nother podcast.
I didn't like Spirit Tracks, Phantom Hourglass.
Fair.
All right, we're getting 2 in the muds.
Anyway,
Continue with the hyperbole.
The hyperbole is this. This is the best Legend of Zelda game ever made.
Fight him in real life.
Fight me in real life. This is not only the best Legend of Zelda game that has ever been made, but it's possibly the best video game that I've ever played in my life. I am prepared to say
He's
that.
played a whole 4 of them. And out of those 4
video games.
No. It's better than Final Fantasy VII. It is.
I felt the pain surge from your balls.
It is better. It is better than any game. It is better than Resident Evil 2. It is better.
I can't even say Resident Evil 2 is the best Resident Evil.
Well, whatever. Resident
But I
Evil
understand
4.
where you're going.
But out of everything that I've played from the
Just so
time I
you
was
guys
born-
know, Dan is incredibly drunk right now.
I'm not. You're drunk.
I'm not drunk. This is fucking 3 beers. I'm not drunk.
Anyway, this is from a guy who's played all 15 and a few more Final Fantasies. Including Mystic Quest and some other bullshit on the Game Boy.
So,
Like, out of everything, any video game I've ever played, this has been my favorite experience. I'm like 40 hours deep, and I'm still finding new shit, and I'm not even
Deep like
close
Rhino
to beating the
dick.
game. And everything has been very rewarding. The game is gorgeous. The open world is brilliant. The mechanics are incredible. The story is very good, and the game doesn't force feed it to me. And we have our problems with it. I mean, the cooking and the
frame rate.
the frame rate, and those sort of things. But this is probably my favorite video game of all time. There it is.
I'm going to challenge your hyperbole because
Let's do it.
I'd rather do that than actually agree or disagree with you personally.
Okay.
I will agree with you and say that this is, I can probably, even without finishing it, say that this is my favorite Zelda I've ever played. For sure. But are you telling me, Daniel Diaz Brach, are you telling me that this game is better than Chrono Trigger?
I will tell you that this game is better than Chrono Trigger.
Whoa!
In my opinion.
Hold the fucking phone.
All right, shut it down, boys.
I
I think,
In my opinion, as a guy who's finished Chrono Trigger a good 5 times, I think this video game is better than Chrono Trigger.
I'm going to let you have your opinion.
It's an opinion.
I just wanted you to state it out loud so that way when we eventually have a meeting with Jared and the rest of the MetaVillains, they now know the reason of why we're kicking you out.
You can kill me. Yeah.
He's going to fight you in real life.
No, it's just
He's the last villain I would want to fight.
we've had this
He's
conversation.
got dad strength now.
I was going to say,
We've had this conversation. I'm not scared of him. So
damn, with such comment. He's all hyped up on Breath of the Wild. That's why he's talking like that.
I'm on that breath tip.
He's like, come at me, 120 shrines, bitch.
No, out of all the experiences that I've had in video gaming, I can confidently say that this is the best video game experience that I've ever had.
I cannot imagine being a kid playing this as like your first game. It's all downhill from here, buddy.
And dude, yeah, this is, like I said, it's clearly the best Zelda ever made. It's the best. I love Wind Waker. I love Link to the Past. Ocarina of Time can die in a fucking fire, but
Just fucking fire over here, fire over there. Why not just burn the whole fucking thing down while you're at it?
and we can make an updraft.
Because this game is
Full
smarter.
This game is fucking incredible.
Well,
I wish Nintendo would do this, but now I'm worried. Honestly, I'm worried. With all the hyperbole And, all the people that are going to rage at me in YouTube comments, and Jared's going to fucking shoot me in the neck.
I was gonna say, who the fuck comments on our videos?
I don't know, but somebody will.
Maybe our one friend. What's his name?
Jeremy in Oregon?
It's not his name, but
His name is Cameron.
Yeah, well,
shout out to Cameron again.
Shout out.
talk to your mom, Cameron, said your name should have been Jeremy.
I run the MetaVillains Twitter, aka I just make sure that I get notifications that people contact us. I did not get the notification when he retweeted us and then put a picture of his MetaVillain shirt and
What?
sent it to us.
Oh, that's cool.
And I didn't get the notification.
Well, I did not see that.
Yeah, it was on Twitter.
Fucking Jeremy.
Stop it. But now I'm worried because Nintendo has made this game. And they know what they had. They knew what they had the whole time. Miyamoto's smugly fucking talking about...
You told me I'll be the best Zelda ever.
And he...
Even though Miyamoto has barely anything to do with Zelda anymore.
Yeah, they knew. Reggie knew. They all knew how big this was going to be. But does this mean they're going to make all of our AAA Nintendo IPs this game now? How do you follow this? How do you even... I don't fucking want to play another Zelda for
15 more years of fucking darkness is how you follow this.
What are you going to do?
You get Spirit Tracks 2.
What are they going to
Breath
make?
of the Wild 4, Breathe Harder.
What are they going to make that's going to compare with this video game?
I don't know, but they got their work cut out for them. I know what they can do is they could redirect their assets and make another fucking Metroid game.
Well, see...
Could you imagine...
Metroid Prime was the original blueprint for Breath of the Wild. Did you know that?
But could you
Except
imagine...
it was not at all.
Could you imagine an open world Metroid like this?
It wouldn't work. Not like that.
But
You
I
mean
can
Metroid
imagine it.
Prime?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Well, actually, no. I mean, they could
Metroid
easily...
Prime wasn't as open world.
But they could pull the same bullshit where they could say, all right, we went back to Metroid, and then we made kind of like a proto-Metroid 2 based off this, and then we made Metroid Breath of the Ridley. And then it's this whole new fucking game, and then it's 10 years from now on the Switch U that we're playing. and we're sitting here like, my left Switch U doesn't talk to my right Switch U, and then it's mad because all my Switches can't use. And then we have, Dan Jr., but his name's going to be Dree. And then young little Dree is going to sit here and be like, prepare for the hyperbole, Cricky. And then Giselle is going to be like, fuck all you guys, I'm drunk. And for those of you that don't know us, Jeremy, you'll have no idea what we're talking about. Chris Nicky, Cricky.
I got it. I put it together already, you asshole.
Well, you truly are the Breath of the Wild, Dan.
Cricky.
Or it'd be Nis. Which one do you prefer?
Please fucking name your child.
Or I was going to say yours would just be Bran, and that's
God
like a
forbid we
real
even
fucking
have
name.
a child. We're the most selfish motherfuckers, and we'll leave it at that.
That child is going to be one horny, non-horny child. It's going to be so weird. He's going to want to masturbate and be like, nah, I'm not feeling
Gonna be
it.
masturbating a soft dick the entire time.
I'm just doing this because I'm bored.
That's going to be the title of my new EP, Masturbating a Soft Dick. Based on the novel Push by Sapphire.
Every fucking time, James.
Ugh.
And we're done.
All right.
I think that was our little flare out at the end.
I was gonna end this podcast on a more serious, somber tone, but I'd rather not after those fucking jokes there.
So I feel like that was the little burst I had to get out for not making really any jokes while we did this.
Yeah, we were too enthralled about talking about a good game, and if you don't like the game, that's fine.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, fuck you.
You're okay it's okay to be wrong every now and then.
Dan basically cried for an hour and 10 minutes talking about this game, so if you don't like it, go fuck yourself.
Also, if you say that the game sucks and you haven't played it, you can honestly go fuck yourself.
You say it's empty, then go have sex with a woman.
Tell me that shit's empty.